The national champion is clad in big orange. The pitch. Swing and a miss! That's the ball game! The national champion is clad in big orange.
At Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title. Connect with
the SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the second consecutive season.
the 1-0. In the air, right center field. Rock's on the move. Rock get there. Tennessee walks it off. There's a mismatch. Deep three. Come on now. And don't connect. Robbie Draghi this time. Indeed. New hand jam. Down the middle. Got it. The fly is high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, this is college football at its absolute best.
It's college athletics at its absolute best. Welcoming y'all. It is Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, which means it is time for another episode of the Fanatics Show. I'm your host, Skylar, my co-host, Michael. How are we doing? Another week post-football season, but also another week closer to Christmas. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Doing fantastic over here. As you said, another week closer to Christmas, another week closer to Tennessee's bowl game. It's going to feel a little bit weird this week not having football other than the Army-Navy game, which, I mean, we're all going to watch that, right? It's football. That's so, right. But no, it's a fantastic time getting closer to the holidays, get to spend more time with family. Finally starting to feel some better, the last couple of weeks. It seems like everybody's just got some sort of sickness. Just that time of year, man. But starting to get a little bit out of that. How about you?
Man, I blessed to say I kind of dodged the bullet as far as the sickness, but it did hit my family, at least here in the business, a little bit. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. And yeah, prayers to continue to get better. But man, I mean, just trying to finish the year strong. We all set goals, or we should, in my opinion, set goals at the beginning of the year, and just trying to close out the year strong. I mean, obviously, there's some people that like to, when December hits, they really Thanksgiving, once it hits, it's like people just set on cruise control because they know it's holiday season. But like me, man, I'm just trying to grind. I'm trying to accomplish those goals. We still got like 3 weeks to get it done, and I'm trying everything I can to get it done. So no, here at the Fanatics Show, we got some changes coming up soon, and I'm excited about that. But before we get into any of that, I would like to let everybody know who our presenting show sponsor is, and that is Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. Again, guys, Chris is not just going to find you the best rate, right? A lot of insurance agents can do that. What he's going to do is find you the best rate with the best coverage so that if that accident does happen, if you do have to file that claim, he's going to be there at your doorstep, hold your hand throughout the entire process with all the peace of mind knowing that you're going to be properly covered. So, Chris, we appreciate all you do for your clients, but also your continued support in the Fanatics Show. So, Michael, I guess give us a rundown. What are we talking about today? Obviously, big changes at Tennessee.
Yeah, man.
We kind of mentioned Josh Heupel's going to have to change something. Well, he did. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and what else are we talking about?
So we're just basically going to have a talking show on this one. We don't get to, we don't get to just talk a lot. We do the talking
around our pick segment, right? Like that's what we started
exactly.
out.
And sometimes it's nice to just get to talk about ball, and we get to talk about that tonight. Is we're not going to get into full dive into basketball until after the new year, whenever the SEC season starts. But segment one,
dare I say, have a hot take.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I'm probably going to have a hot take as well. But
all right, bet.
Segment one, we do got to give our final position grades of the season. Obviously, there's going to be some of them that are not going to be good at all. But final position grades in segment one. Segment two, we're going to get some updates on Tennessee football. We got some people that declared for the draft. We got some people that have already put in their name to the portal by the time that opens in January. We've got a assistant coach that's been fired and an assistant coach that has been hired. We got a lot to talk about as far as Tennessee football. Final segment, we're not going to have Raking with Jake this week because it is just the Army-Navy game and then a couple of bowl games before next Thursday. But we're going to bring Jake on anyway. We're going to talk about some CFP. Did the committee get it right?
No.
What are our thoughts on the CFP?
They never get it right, bro. It's just what did they get wrong, right? Like it's
Exactly. But let's dive right into all this because it's time to talk. Just talk about ball. But before we do that, I do want to give us our segment one sponsor, and that is Optimal Asbestos Services. Optimal Asbestos Services offers detailed asbestos inspections and air quality assessments. Whether you're looking to secure your home or workplace, you can trust Optimal Asbestos Services to deliver thorough and reliable solutions. Contact Jeff Mull at 865-223-3297 for your consultation today, or go on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So segment one, I'm working on getting the graphic pulled up here, but we're going to give our final position grades.
Can we start with quarterback?
Yeah, let's start from the top.
Let's start from the top.
As far as quarterback goes,
To be honest with you,
rank Joey Aguilar?
If I was ranking this based on like expectation of what I was having like when he first got here, it's an A+, not even like close.
Yeah, make it your own. Is it the way that it finished out, or based on your expectations from the beginning of the season? Make it your own.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna kind of meet in the middle, because I don't. It's not fair to like all the past quarterbacks or future quarterbacks if I'm going based on like if I lower the bar for Joey, right? So like overall, I'm giving the quarterback position an A-, and it really is the turnovers, but not all the turnovers were his fault. I understand that, but like there was a couple games where it was his fault, if I must be honest. And those couple of games are what kept you out of the playoffs. So it just the negatives felt very major, but overall, I mean, you're the leading passing quarterback in the SEC. Somehow does not get all SEC honors. That blows my mind.
That was that's a
might
totally
be
different.
When's the last time you've seen the leading passer in the SEC not get like any awards at the end of the year? But whatever. I digress. It's A- overall. But yeah, I mean, if you talk to me like you're getting Joey, you're getting this guy from Appalachian State who, obviously kind of like he did at Tennessee, had a lot of yards, had a lot of touchdowns, had a lot of interceptions. But I do think even with the 10, I think he threw this year, he still cut back on it based on I think he had like 22 or 23 touchdowns. So I mean, overall, the ratio is not terrible. Just like I said, the interceptions that were thrown just seem to be very crucial. So I'm gonna go A-, and man, I'm blessed that he came here to Tennessee and. Even though we only went 8-4, I think it could have been a lot worse without him at the helm.
Yeah, this is a spot where I'm going to completely agree with you. Kind of the same direction based on his performance on the field. I'm going to go at A-, like you said, because of the turnovers. A lot of those were timely turnovers.
They were
that resulted in some of the losses that Tennessee had. For instance, the Oklahoma game, that one really sticks out in my mind as far as how timely those turnovers were.
The strip sack. I mean,
yep.
I remember in the beginning of the year, it felt like every game he would always drop a snap.
Yes.
It was like 3 games to start the year. It was like it happened at least once a game where he'd drop a snap or have like some sort of misunderstanding with the running back. I don't know. It seemed like the ball always hit the ground. And I mean, that just kind of alludes to why I'm giving him an A- here.
Yeah, but 100% as well, like you said, coming from Appalachian State, we kind of knew that we were going to get a guy that was going to take some shots downfield. He wanted to try to make the big play. It was just a matter of, is he going to be able to make those big plays without putting the ball in harm's way a lot? And I think he ended up with, 8 interceptions on the season, something like that. So more than any other quarterback that Josh Heupel has had so far at Tennessee. But still, when you look at the rest of his numbers, it wasn't just a terrible ratio as far as touchdowns to interceptions either. So as far as what we got out of him compared to the hype coming in of Joey Aguilar, 100% that's an A+. But I'm going to go the position as a whole is going to be A-, just based on his performance this season on the field. Right, looking up his stats right now.
I was trying to do it very quickly, and I'm not doing it very quickly. But I'm gonna have to go to ESPN. But no, I mean, what
Yeah.
position group would you like to do next? Would you like to
So
just go straight on the running backs? Or?
Yeah, let's just go on to running backs, and I'll go first on this one because this is kind of where I've got my first, hot take compared to what most people would think. I am going to go running backs at a B to B plus type tier, and I tell you why it's that high. There have been games this season where running backs look fantastic. I mean, it should have been ranked an A. Deshaun Bishop had himself a fantastic year this year. Peyton Lewis really started getting into the grind towards the end of the season. Star Thomas was a little bit of a disappointment towards the end of the season. But ultimately, the running back group failed in several different ways, but I don't blame that all on them. You had an offensive line that looked very solid at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden, you weren't getting any push up front. The holes weren't being made, and it's hard for a running back to try to make their own holes each and every time that they touch the ball. And when you're getting hit at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, you're only going to pick up a yard or two, if anything at all, except, when you compare that to the beginning of the season, granted playing a little bit lower competition other than Georgia, you weren't getting hit until you were 3-4 yards downfield, and then you could make somebody miss and pick up, chunk plays. And that's just something that we didn't see down the stretch. You can blame some of that on the running backs, but like I said, I'm going to put that more towards the offensive line, which is why I'm going to have the running backs up at a B plus type tier. I'll keep it at a B though.
Right on. According to ESPN, Joey Aguilar finished with 3,444 yards at a 67% completion rate.
23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Close.
Yes. I knew he had 10 interceptions, but I couldn't verify. But yeah, so I'm looking at Deshaun Bishop. If he plays in the bowl game, he'll clips 1,000 yards, but he's sitting right now at 983. Definitely your leading back with 163 carries. You had Starr and Peyton go. Let's see, Starr had 95 carries. Peyton had 70 carries. I mean, overall, Deshaun Bishop and Starr Thomas, definitely your yards per rush average, 5.6 and 6.0 respectfully. 21 touchdowns between the two. I'm going to go ahead and throw in Peyton in that. 28 touchdowns among your running backs, your big three at least. You had Joey added in 3 more, and then Dwayne Morris added 1. But yeah, running backs, I'm just gonna go B. It was kind of a down year in my opinion. I know Deshaun Bishop's good. He's going to be good, and he's still got another year and probably 2 years if he wanted. But this is the first year that the rushing hasn't been 2,500 yards rushing. We're sitting right now at 2,098. I do not see us getting 402 yards rushing in the bowl game. So this is the first year, I think, under the Heupel era that the Tennessee Vols do not have 2,500 yards rushing. So I'm going to go with a B.
Yeah, that's completely fair assessment there. And you're 100% right. That is the first time under Heupel that we have not eclipsed that 2,500 yard mark. So let's move on over to wide receivers. What you say on the wide receivers this year?
Other than the drops, which is why it's not an A+, but it's an A. You had the best 3 receivers in the SEC, no doubt about it. They never got the hype they deserved. Braylon Staley getting freshman of the year, but not being on all SEC. Another just massive snub. We're talking like the dude had better stats than Georgia's. What's the wide receiver for Georgia? Number 5. I'm so upset at myself. Anyways,
I can't even
Branch, Zachariah Branch.
Oh yeah, Zachariah Branch.
Yeah. Braylon Staley's stat wise is better than Branch at Georgia. And if you look at where Staley's done most of his damage is against some of the best competition, and yet just doesn't get that respect. But thankfully he at least got rookie of the year, rookie of the season, or freshman of the year. Sorry, in the SEC. So. Chris Brazzell, obviously, he's going to be a top 2 round pick in the draft. And Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, and we got a plethora of redshirt freshmen / true freshmen that are going to be in next year. That's going to be fun to watch. So not too worried in the wide receiver room next year either. So I'm going to give them an A. Dude.
Yeah, to have it is anything.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, like, all of them averaged 12.5 yards per reception or better. That's insane.
and to have it as anything other than an A, it's really a travesty because this is the first time in school history that you have had 3 wide receivers in the same season go over 800 yards in a
700.
season.
700. Matthews is sitting at
700, yeah.
770. Now, after the bowl game with Chris Brazzell sitting out, you're going to possibly have 3 guys over 900, but the safe numbers, you'll definitely have 3 guys over 800.
Yeah, so it's the first time in school history that you ever had 3 guys in the same season go over 700 yards. And yes, you've got drops. 100%, you've got drops out there, but what team does it? What wide receivers don't at this point? But
Again,
as far
it's
as
the
their
timing of the
performance on the
drops.
yes, 100% correct on that. But as far as, the performance on the field this year, anything other than A is a joke. Because this wide receiver group it was fantastic this season. So, tight ends. Tight end group. All right, go for it.
C plus.
C plus.
Terrible. However, I do feel like it was getting better at the end of the year, and it definitely singles out a single. I didn't expect the step back that Miles Kitselman was going to have this year. And this is mostly in the passing game. Our tight ends are really good in the blocking game. I'm not throwing shade there, but like just in the passing game, Ethan Davis was still your 4th leading receiver on the team, but overall, man, Ethan Davis was your 4th leading. Miles Kitselman was your 5th in terms of yards. It just wasn't there. I thought Miles Kitselman would be like a all SEC style tight end it didn't pan out this year, and it's unfortunate. But Ethan Davis kind of stepped up in a big way once he got healthy, and I do think Ethan Davis and Deshaun Brame and Jack Van Dorseeler, they have a chance of being a really good group next year. But this year, if I had to just, obviously that's what we're doing here. It's a C. It's a C plus. They could have been way better.
I'll agree with you. They definitely could have been way better. I'm actually going to give them a slightly better grade.
That's okay.
Just because of how well we saw Ethan Davis perform at the end of the season when he came back and was 100% healthy. Because if he did not come back and have the performance that he did towards the end of the season, my grade would have been a C minus or worse. Because of, as you mentioned, Miles Kitselman and the hype that we had about him coming back into this season and just the disappointment that he was. But the way Ethan Davis played towards the end of the season when he was completely healthy, it's got us so excited about next season, what he can do with a fully healthy season, knock on wood type of deal, as long as he is healthy, what he brings to the offense. And he really helped Tennessee's offense open up a little bit the last couple of weeks of the season. You had another target that you could go to. So I am going to go with a B minus for the tight ends solely because of what we saw at the end of the season. But that the Miles Kitselman performance at the first half of the season, that definitely brings it down some.
Right on. So overall as an offense offensive line.
You kind of had stretches this season with the offensive line. When you look at the first couple of weeks of the season, that was an A plus because they looked like they were a top tier offensive line.
They kind of got bullied
because
the last 4 or 5 weeks though.
They did. And I'll even say the last 6 weeks they got bullied. Going back to
Joey Aguilar only got sacked like once in the first 5 games, and he finishes the year with 17 sacks. So it's like, dude, I'm gonna go B minus on the offensive line group.
I'm gonna go with a C on the offensive line group.
Yeah.
It definitely left a lot to be desired, and then the fact that you could not run the ball very well at all, especially in the middle part of the season, and then ran the ball well against New Mexico State, obviously. That was an easy one. Florida, you finally looked like you were back on track, but then you get to Vanderbilt and just cannot run the ball whatsoever against Vanderbilt. It's a C for me overall this season. So offense as a whole, you were still one of the top offenses in the nation. Granted, you fell off a little bit towards the end because you couldn't run the ball and you had to rely on the passing game. But I can't go any higher than a B. And I might be a little bit
You're being harsh. You're being harsh
with that. But when you look at the on the field results, not being able to run the ball hurt. Even though you still were able to pass the ball and put up some points, you got to be able to run the ball. And I can't go any higher than a B as a whole for this offense this season.
I hear you. I mean, it's an A- offense for me. Still tallying over, almost 41 points a game. You didn't go 8-4 this year because of your offense. And that's why we've seen the changes that we've seen in the offseason. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an A- for me on the offense. I'm not going to go too much depth. We were really good on offense. A lot better than I think I was expecting. So, defensive side of the ball, we'll start with the defensive backs. What you got?
Defensive backs.
And this is including corners and safeties. Can't separate them.
You were decimated by injuries this year, yes. You had a lot of young guys on the field, yes. But kind of like what Coach Heupel says, Josh Heupel was not using that as an excuse this season at all, because especially with the way guys are able to come in spring practice, you get all spring now, you get all summer. You're not just coming in for summer practices and having to grow up in just a summer. You basically get a whole semester before you step foot on the field to work on things. So you got to be coming in ready to play. And because of all that, and then the on the field results, I've got to go secondary as a whole. You're back down to a D. It wasn't very good this season. Colton Hood was a bright spot out there at corner.
Didn't finish the year strong.
He did not finish the year strong. Ty Redmond, all credit in the world. He was a freshman at the beginning of the season. He
leading
grew up at the beginning
interceptions, of the year. Leading the team in he had 3 interceptions on the year.
Yeah. Idris Farouk, a lot of talent, still very raw right now. The fact that Andre Turrentine was the best that you had at the other safety position was just an absolute travesty.
Idris Farouk was actually tied for the team leader in solo tackles.
Yeah. So, I mean, in my opinion, the talent is there in the room, but the on-the-field results this season just weren't there. And I know you're going to have people say, like I've already said, injuries. Well, we can't just use injuries as an excuse. At some point, you've got to grow up. This is the SEC. There's a reason that you were recruited to come play at Tennessee, and you've got to show that on the field. So I'm going to have this at a D.
Yeah, I'm a good D plus, and the only reason I'm going plus is because we got rid of some garbage in the defensive backs that I think did improve the room, and I like where the room's going. I obviously I'm judging it based on this year alone, but I do really, really like Ty Redmond. I like Idris Farouk. And I like the possibility of getting Ricky Gibson back. I'm telling you, I do feel like this is a group that got better as the season went, but they were so bad early on that it was just a lot to make up from. So, D plus for me.
All right, linebackers. Where do you have the linebacker group this year?
I had the linebacker group I'm gonna go B plus. I'm a little higher on them. 3 of your linebackers are your top 4 in leading tackles. And Arion Carter, Edwin Spillman 1 and 2, and then Jeremiah Thielander just 4 tackles back from Spillman. So I'm gonna go B plus here. Thielander frustrated me with the missed tackles. Felt like he didn't fill the gap as much, but I think with what they were being asked to do, they stepped up to the plate and did it for the most part. So I'm gonna go B plus, and I'm really down on a group that we're about to get on, and I'm gonna pick on them a little bit. But the linebackers help hide a lot of that. So give me B plus.
I think I'm right there with you, if not an A minus. I'm gonna stick with the B plus though, because as you mentioned, Jeremiah Thielander kind of disappointed me a little bit this year with the missed tackles. He still had games where he looked really good as well, but the reason I kind of want to jump it to an A minus is because the play of Jaden Perlotti, especially down the stretch, and the play of Edwin Spillman, especially down the stretch, and whenever Arion Carter went out and those two guys stepped up in a big way, it really helped out the team as well. I'm going to stick with a B plus there, but the play of those two freshmen right there really helped out. And plus, Arion Carter, if he doesn't get turf toe in both toes midway through the season, he's far and away the leading tackler in the SEC, one of the leading tacklers in the nation, and he's probably a finalist for whatever it is as far as the best linebacker award is in the nation. I mean, he should have at least been a semifinalist anyway, even though he didn't complete the entire season, because he missed 2 weeks and was still the leading tackler in the SEC. It took that third and even fourth week that he missed, and you include the bye week in there. It took those weeks right there for anybody to even catch up with him at that point. So Arion Carter makes the room look really good. Perlotti and Spillman's play helps out the room. T-Landers takes it down a notch this season, but you still should. You're going to have all 4 of those guys back next year unless Arion Carter does decide to go to the draft. Correct?
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he will.
I don't think he is either. I think he's still got something to prove. So be on the lookout for the linebacker group next year, especially with the recruits that we got coming in. So yeah, B plus for the linebacker group. Now we go over to defensive line, and this is an area that I believe both of us are going to be down on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to combine.
I'm probably lower than you on this one.
I'm going to combine the on-the-field results with the expectations that this group was expected to have this year. The defensive line is a D.
Oh, yep. I agree with you 100%. Which kind of bothers me because I like Rodney Gardner a lot, but I just expected a lot more out of Joshua Josephs. I expected a lot more out of David Hobbs, which David Hobbs has hurt a lot this year, and I get that. Dominic Bailey, Tyree. Like, I just expected so
Jackson
much more.
Moy.
Yeah, I just expected so much. Even he was hurt a lot of this year, but I just expected so much more out of this D-line. Tyree West, a dog at times, but just I mean, you look at the end of the year totals, and he only has 4 sacks. He has 22 total sacks, including the assist. Like, it's just not enough. The defensive line just not being able to generate pressure, not being able to tackle the runner at the point of contact on a consistent basis. I mean, teams ran down our throat this year. So, yeah, defensive line is definitely a D for me. Andre, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you never had guys that, had an outstanding game at the same time. You had Tyree West play well one game, but Joshua Josephs just kind of no-showed. You had David Hobbs show up, and Jackson Moy didn't do anything. You had Jordan Ross show up one game, and then you had a Caleb Herring that didn't do anything type deal. So you had guys that would show up, but then you would have guys that no-showed.
Yeah.
And it all happened in the same game. You never had each guy show up at the same time type of deal.
That's right. Andre, we appreciate you being tuned in here on the YouTube channel. It says, did Thielander hit the portal? I don't think so. Not at this moment. Don't know if he will or not.
I don't think Thielander will. I don't remember his exact comments after the Vanderbilt game, but it sounded like he had unfinished business at Tennessee.
I agree.
So I don't think that he's hitting the portal.
And even with the defensive coordinator change that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, I don't foresee them getting rid of the linebackers coach. I don't.
I agree.
It's BLSD. Is Joey coming back? I hope so. Actually, I kind of want it to happen. I know we got guys in the house or in the locker room right now that can step up to the plate, and I get that. But if Joey gets granted another year, I think the Vols should definitely give him the option to come back. That's just my 2 cents. I think he's earned it, and he's kind of the guy you want as your leader, anyways. And I felt like he was really coming around to being a leader, a vocal leader, as the season progressed. So I think if he had another year where he's really comfortable with the guys, who knows where this offense could go. I mean, in year one, he averaged 41 points a game, so I'd be okay with.
And I've got some thoughts on that too that we'll kind of talk about in our next segment. But which safety are you referring to? Because the only one I know about is Boo Carter, and there is a reason why he entered the portal, and that's because Tennessee was not going to have him back.
I was just saying we kind of kicked him off the team, so
yeah. But that's the only safety that I know of that's entered the portal, unless you know of somebody else that has entered the portal. And technically, all right, so he did say, yeah, him. So I'll talk briefly about that for just a second. So Boo Carter, if you want to go back and watch some of our other videos about Boo Carter, they're more in-depth, especially our bye week whenever we discuss that one. Or actually, I guess it's New Mexico State week. Where we talk about that more in depth. But basically, Boo Carter no call, no showed for the New Mexico State game. He was told he wasn't.
Me.
Yes, he was told that he wasn't going to get to play, but he was to be on the sidelines for that game, and he did not show up for the game. Combine that with a lot of other stuff to happen as well. Josh Heupel dismissed him from the team.
Yeah. This is not something that happened just this season. This is stemmed from the offseason. And
yes,
it's been an ongoing thing that the coach has been trying to be patient with him and work with him on it, but it's just not been working out. So he got ultimately what I believe he deserved. So
yeah, 100%. And then, still tried to save face a little bit by saying he was injured for the last couple of weeks. Josh Heupel pretty much shut that down. Mike Keith also shut that down as well. So that's the reason he entered the portal. And he wasn't coming back to Tennessee anyway.
That's a fact.
So final position group, and then we'll do this position group as well as the entire defense as a whole. Special teams. I'm going to go with a D-.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the D- as well. I can't go F because I kid you not, I'm looking at some of the stuff that I thought was really bad. I'm like, wow, that's actually not, like, if you told me this at the beginning of the year, I'd have been like, yeah, that's pretty good. But overall, just the punt and kicking game on aside from the what do you call the PAT unit? Why am I blanking on this? I don't know. Whatever. Aside from field goals, Max Gilbert. Okay. It's a D-. And Max Gilbert, bless his heart, dude. He went 14 of 18 on the year. He went 2 of 3 on kicks over 50 yards. Went 4 of 6 on 40 to 49.
All right, so we talk about Joey Aguilar and his timely turnovers. That's the thing about Max Gilbert is
when
his
the game
misses,
is on the line.
His misses were timely as well. For instance, the Georgia game. That's the one that we're always going to bring up. There was what other game was it? Well, was it the Oklahoma game?
Yes.
That I'm thinking of?
Yes, because we literally missed a chip shot. I would say chip shot, like a 40-something yarder field goal. And then Oklahoma turns right around and nails like a freaking 59-yard field goal. And I'm just like, Max, dude, like that. So
Max Gilbert did not play bad this year, but it was the timeliness of his misses.
That's a fact.
I can't think of our punter's name off the top of my head, but he had a fantastic year. He just did his job.
The punter's not Josh Tuberville, was it?
No. Josh Tuberville's kickoff guy.
That's right.
Jackson Ross. That's our punter. All he did was do his job. But where it really goes
I actually do feel like he was good. So I mean,
he was very good.
Might actually bump it up to a D because our punt unit was great. Our punt return, our kick, I don't know, like our kick return, like it was bad. But
you and I both talked about this, and I'll just go ahead and mention it now instead of waiting for the next segment. One thing that Jim Knowles, our new defensive coordinator, has got to do, you've got to get somebody better as special teams coordinator. Neither one of us realized just how bad we were going to miss Mike Eckler whenever he took another job last season. Yeah, my God, that
I've never seen
special
like it
teams
be so noticeable
terrible.
that you've had a coaching change. So
it was awful.
All right, so defense total grade.
It's a D+.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you on that, but
it's one of the
worst defenses we've had in a while.
The linebacker group brings it up a notch.
Yeah,
because they looked pretty good this year.
but I agree.
But
with you.
as a whole, it's
bad.
a D plus.
It's bad. It's bad. One to forget, and that's why we fired our defensive coordinator. So right on, awesome.
All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move on to segment 2, so we can talk about some of the changes and everything for Tennessee. But before we do that, will you give us our segment 2 sponsor?
Yeah, absolutely. It's P&L Business Services. So we know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Guys, if you are an entrepreneur trying to make it in this world, but not try to do anything wrong paperwork-wise with the IRS or anything like that, make sure your books are in check, and no better way to do that than to just go online to pnlbusinessservices.com and allow them to help you. Allow them to assist in the back office so that you can keep your mind focused on the customer service. What got you to that point, right? And you have the peace of mind knowing that everything on the back end is taken care of. So P&L Business Services, we appreciate you. We appreciate you and your assistance in all of our local businesses. And most importantly, we appreciate your continued support of the Vol Fanatics Show. So Tennessee football news, I think we're going to lead off with the juggernaut of news, and that is talked about a little bit last week that I was kind of coming around on the sense of like maybe not fire Tim Banks, maybe just make a change where I wondered Willie Martinez gone. But news broke. Tim Banks has been fired. I don't care what they say. I don't care if it's a mutual disagreement. I don't care what they label it as. He got fired. And now, because we're late to that news, we now know that Jim Knowles is hired to be the new defensive coordinator. Michael, what are your initial thoughts on these moves that Josh Heupel's just made?
So on one hand, I was a little bit surprised that he fired Tim Banks, but then whenever I really got into the numbers of it, last season was a one-off. You had a top 10 defense last season, but whenever you look at the rest of the defenses under Josh Heupel with Tim Banks, it was very first season of 21, didn't have much to go off of, wasn't much expectation, 88th in the country. Second season, 2022, it was still in the 50s. I think it was 56 in the country. Yeah. Saving grace that year was the fact that you had the number 1 overall offense for the entire season.
It probably wouldn't have been that bad, honestly, if it weren't for the South Carolina game. But
you're probably right.
But it happened. So
yeah. Now 23 was much better, but still you were outside the top 25. It was
I think it was like 30th or something.
It was right at 30th. Like
yep.
Then last season you had the number 7 offense or defense in the nation. Really, really good. But then you fall back in this season. You were 90th. I was going to say you were 90th in the country. You were 15th. I'm sorry. No, you were 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC in total defense.
Arkansas. Thank you.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Yes, that makes sense.
That's just not a recipe for success. And
aside from Florida, I think every SEC team scored over 30 points on this defense.
They 100% did.
Aside from Florida.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I think that it was a move whenever you finally look at all that. It needed to be made.
It did.
Was it a bit of a surprise? Yes, it was, because Tim Banks did a lot of good things. But also it's
not even that. It's the fact that Josh Heupel is he's always seemed like a guy. I don't know. We've never seen Josh Heupel make a move like this, right? Like he's always been a guy that builds his guys up and hopes they, continue. I don't know, builds them up, hopes they continue and maybe be a head coach somewhere. Like this is the first time we've really had to see him fire somebody. And yeah, he didn't go after a units coach. He went after the entire defensive coordinator, which I think I agree with, man. I mean, like you said, that last year was a one-off, and that's where I was giving him some grace. Like, man, we only made that playoff, in my opinion, because of his defense. But you also look at the talent that we had on defense, and maybe that helped hide some of the issues that Tim Banks has, and I think that is true. So, yeah, I wish Tim Banks all the luck in the world. I don't really hate the guy. I think he's a great guy.
Matter of fact, he's already been hired by somebody.
I think it is kind of funny, and I think it's telling that he has taken another job with Auburn to reunite with Alex Golish. No, not as a defensive coordinator, as a safeties coach, as a defensive backs coach. So I think it's telling that he's actually, I'm not going to say taking a step back because, I don't know. It just, in my mind, coordinator, they're only striving to be either coordinator or head coach in the future, not really take a step back. And I feel like he has done that. And I think that was probably his, I'm not going to say only option. Obviously, he has options out there, but to stay in the SEC, that was probably really his only shot at doing so, was to take that safeties job.
Yeah, 100%. But now let's move over to the flip side.
Let's do it.
The news that broke yesterday. So before we get into the hiring of Jim Knowles, when Tim Banks was fired, did you have any name in your mind that you were like, okay, this is who I think they're going to go get? Because I'm not going to lie, Jim Knowles crossed my mind. But I said, I just don't know if Tennessee can get that hire. I don't know if Josh Heupel will be able to go and get him. I feel like we're going to have to go get somebody else. Ryan Walters from Washington was the guy in my mind. Because we know that, Josh Heupel, he likes, I'm not going to say he likes getting his friends necessarily, but a lot of the people that are on his staff, they're guys that have been, quote unquote, in his system.
Well, people that helped him build him. Yeah, people that helped him build. He's going to obviously offer those same opportunities.
Yeah. And Ryan Walters was one of those guys. He was a grad assistant at Oklahoma whenever Josh Heupel was there in 2012, right before Heupel got fired. Then they met again at Missouri when Josh Heupel was the offensive coordinator. Walters was I believe he was the secondaries coach at that point. Ended up whenever Heupel went to UCF, sometime after that, he was promoted to co-defensive coordinator at that time. Walters at that point, he went to Illinois, had the number 1 overall defense at Illinois in 22 before going to Purdue in 23 and 24 as the head coach. Didn't work out there, went to Washington, had a top 20 defense this season. So that was my thought initially, was Ryan Walters. What say you as far as your thought on who Josh Heupel would get to be defensive coordinator?
Yeah, my genuine thought was that William Inge would be the next defensive coordinator at Tennessee football. I think he's such a good recruiter. This is why I want him to stay on staff. I think his knowledge of the game, XYZ, you check it off, and also what Josh Heupel's been known to do in the past. Obviously, Alex Golis left, and what does he do? He brings up the quarterbacks coach to be the next offensive coordinator. So I kind of thought, and I would have almost bet money on William Inge, because Rodney Gardner shows no interest in whatsoever in being a defensive coordinator. He loves just being a defensive line coach. William Martinez could kick rocks for all I care, so I knew he wasn't going to be the defensive coordinator. And so I really, really, really thought it was going to be William Inge. But kudos to Josh Heupel going out there and, in my opinion, making the splash hire in Jim Knowles. I think, we're talking about a guy who literally won a natty with Ohio State just 2 seasons ago, and arguably would still be at Ohio State if it weren't for him not really being able to get the deal that he wanted from Ohio State and Penn State doubling his salary to come over there. So, I hate that he did it for the money reasons, but all in all, you do what you got to do as a coach, and I like what he brings to the table. I don't think he's ever had a defense outside the top 40, even in his first years at a team. So I'm excited to see what he does with this Tennessee football team defense, and if we can just turn this team from a 90th in the country to 35. I think that's literally a win better in the record, no matter who you're playing. That literally gets you a game better all day long, and that's what I'm about. And if this offense can take another step forward, who knows, man? This team can really, really make some noise next year.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there, because you look at that 23 season whenever Tim Banks' defense was 30th in the nation. If you had an offense that was, just slightly better than what it was, it doesn't have to be 22 caliber, but if it was slightly better, if you averaged 35 points a game that season instead of, I believe it was like 29, maybe 30, something like that. If you average 35 points a game instead of 30, then you're probably 11-1, 10-2 that season instead of 9-3 at the end of the year when you combine it with that defense. So I think you're 100% right. So ultimately, Josh Heupel makes a splash hire, Jim Knowles, and we we really need to thank Ohio State at this point for not being able to get the contract agreement with him.
Yeah, because I
As
think
far
he
as
wanted
keep
to
him
stay
on
there.
staff,
I think he wanted
did.
to stay at Ohio State. So
He did. Won the national championship, led that defense.
in just the second year there.
Yeah, second year there. Ultimately, couldn't come up with the contract agreement there. Goes to Penn State, and the defense wasn't the problem this year at Penn State.
I mean, there's
the
variables.
offensive side
They
of the ball.
had bad games. Don't get me wrong,
They
but
did.
there's variables outside of just his defense that led to that. I mean, you had the same defense that held Oregon to like 13 points in regulation.
Also give up 42 to UCLA.
Right, because there was some quit in that team. I don't want to see that on our team. There was some quit that I think was triggered by the expectations that, because honestly, they wanted to beat Oregon. They thought that was their chance to arrive, so to speak. And when they didn't get that done, I think that team quit on the inside. So you lose to UCLA, then you lose to Northwestern, and obviously the coach gets fired, head coach gets fired, and then like at that point, I don't really take whatever happened in that. Like I don't really judge him based on the Penn State year, if I'm being honest. And it wasn't even that he had a terrible defense. It's just like I don't look at him like, oh, Nico ran up and down in the field on his defense. Yeah. Well, he also didn't just 1 year ago when Nico was at Tennessee and we went up there for a playoff game and he shut us down. So I'm excited about it. I think we took a step forward. We as Tennessee fans, we have constantly been asking under Josh Heupel era, can we please just have a good defense and a good offense on the same season? I think this move right here, we took a step towards that.
Yeah, so some of the details of this contract for Jim Knowles, it is a 3-year deal.
$7 million
to the end of January
No,
2029. So it runs to the end of January 2029. It's going to be a $0.2 million increase each year. So it'll be $2 million in 2026, 2.2 in 27, and 2.4 in 2028. And some of the other details of that contract there. So he is going to be paid the buyout with Penn State. Don't know the exact terms behind that, but I've seen numbers of $7 million in total that Penn State owes him. Knowles will get a one-time $35,000 moving stipend and a monthly $600 vehicle allowance. Tennessee would owe Knowles the rest of his remaining salary if they did fire him. Let's see, Knowles' buyout for leaving Tennessee is 50% of the remaining salary. So whatever is left, Tennessee would only have to pay half of that. Some of the incentives. He would receive a bonus of worth 8.33% of the $500,000 that Tennessee gets for making a bowl game, and it would increase to 12% if they make the college football playoff, 14% for a quarterfinal appearance, and 16% for a semifinal appearance. And there's an additional bonus for appearing which is 2% in the SEC championship game and 4% for winning the game. And also a 2% bonus if Tennessee appears in the college football national championship, and a 4% if they win the national title. So there's a lot to love there in that contract as far as, if Tennessee has success with him there on staff. And, I'm still in the belief of this is a good hire for Tennessee. Now, next season, are we going to see a top 10 defense? I'm going to sit here and say probably not, because it's going to take just a little bit for Jim Knowles to get comfortable with the defense here. Now, you've got the talent, so I'm not going to say
I disagree. It's not like he's coming into a room with like no talent. I mean, and he's got a lot 100%. And in my opinion, he's got a ton of returning players. So I don't necessarily believe that he can't quickly turn around and fix this, because I genuinely think the biggest problem with our defense is lack of adjustment this year. I don't think it's been a lack of talent. Even with our injuries on that side of the ball, I don't think it's been from a lack of talent. I think it's just been from a lack of adjustment. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in here and makes this thing a top 15, top 10 defense in year one. And despite what they say about our tough schedule next year, we're playing like 4 first-year head coaches next year. So, I mean, we have the opportunity to do something with that. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not going to expect it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm more expecting that 27 season. That's when we really see that defense look good, and probably going to have Faison Brandon as your starting quarterback that year. Maybe go to the national title game.
I said 2028.
Get a little bit ahead of ourselves. Anyway, but the one thing that I will say about Jim Knowles that he's improved upon, but it's still something to be slightly concerned about. He's not necessarily that high level recruiter like
No,
what
he's
Tim
not.
Banks was, like what William Inge is. But that's one thing he's improved upon since starting as a defensive coordinator. So be on the lookout for that as far as going into next season's class. But hopefully it's going to be a positive going forward. But I definitely in the short term, I think this is good for Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how it goes long term. But yeah, Jim Knowles, your new defensive coordinator. Now, some player news. Jermon McCoy, Chris Brazel, kind of as expected, both of them have declared for the NFL draft. And I tip my cap to them. You know, I hate that Jermon McCoy couldn't play this season on Rocky Top, but we all knew he was destined for bigger and better things. Chris Brazel, you know, he does have one more year of eligibility, but
No
kind of
shock
like
here,
Jalen.
though. Like, I mean, we all
I was
kind
gonna
of
say kind of like Jalen Hyatt as well. You have that really good season, you might as well go out on top, you know, because if he comes back for another year, yeah, you could improve upon that, but you could have a season like he had last season where he was expected to be this splash player and it just never really panned out. Him and Nico never really kind of vibed on the field like him and Joey did this year.
right.
So 100% expected, and I wish nothing but the best for those two guys. Do you have any other guys that you expect to enter the draft that still have eligibility left? Because obviously guys like Tyree West, they're out of eligibility. Jackson Moy out of eligibility. Some of those guys, they're going to either go to the draft or they'll go into coaching roles somewhere more than likely. But is there anybody that's got eligibility left that you expect them to just go ahead and enter the draft?
I don't know if I expect anybody else, but I wouldn't be surprised if Arion Carter did.
Arion Carter, possibly.
Just because I do feel like his stock's hot, but I think his stock can grow. So I don't. To answer your question, I don't anticipate any other. I guess I hate to say big names because I mean if they're going to the NFL draft or declaring for it, they're going to be a solid player. But I don't know. I do think that this is actually going to be kind of like a down year in the draft for Tennessee. But I think it's just because you had 50% of your rosters freshmen or redshirt freshmen, and you got so many guys returning for next year. So I mean. I don't think so. If I'm going to answer that question, I do not foresee, unless it's somebody on the defensive line, like you're saying, maybe a Dominic Bailey. I don't know. Like, I feel like he may be out of eligibility. I don't know.
There's one name that I'll throw out that I don't expect him to, but he might test the waters, and that's Lance Hurd. I think that he would benefit from another year. He definitely played better this season than he did last year, but I could see him testing the waters, and if he gets some kind of good report, maybe he goes. But that would be the only one other than Arion Carter, in my opinion, that I see might end up going.
And I hate to have this mentality, but Gabriel Osinda, or I think that's how you say his name. Come on up. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, you got another 5-star, offensive tackle in the recruiting line that's going to be here in January. So, I mean, even if Lance Hurd decided to go, it's not like I feel like he's a guy that's irreplaceable. So I'm all for if he can go like that. I mean, go get that bag, go to the draft, do your thing. But no, there's not been a lot of talk around him doing that. So I don't know if that's going to happen. So he may be back for all I know. And I'd love to have him back. So,
I agree. I mean,
we're looking at the potential. We're looking at the potential to having like upwards of 80% of your roster or your starting lineups, both offensively and defensively, coming back next year. And my God, would your preseason ranking be through the roof if that were the case?
I mean, you mentioned the freshman class this year. So Tennessee's roster breakdown for this year: 2.7% of the roster was graduate players. 9% were seniors. So you're telling me that you've got a total of 11.7% of your roster that is out of eligibility, and even some of those seniors, they've got one more season because they hadn't used their redshirt year. So, but let's just go with the full 11.7% that is out of eligibility. That means that you've got 87.3% of your roster can come back next season, not to mention what you're bringing in this year's top 10 class. That's a loaded team that you got next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's all the ability in the world coming back for next season. So it's unknowns, a lot of unknowns, but it's exciting just to think about it. And we're going to be talking about it all off season long. Give our thoughts on everything, all that good stuff.
We need a couple of good news coming into the offseason. Like we need like one or two star players that are returning or staying or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a Tennessee team that I understand that they're unranked right now, but depending on how they finish the year with the bowl game and whatnot, you're looking at a Tennessee team that could absolutely, arguably be in the top 10 of the preseason rankings come next year. 100%. And they would have all the expectations in the world going into next season.
100%. Next to last thing that I have, we do right now have 4 guys that have entered their name into the transfer portal. No big names.
Linebacker Brendan Ains, Boo Carter. Who else?
So yeah, Brendan Ains, Boo Carter. You got defensive lineman Jamal Wallace.
Yes.
And then edge rusher Kellen Lindstrom.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, but
none of which are big names.
No,
you can consider Boo Carter a big name.
In fact, I know Brendan Ains and Lindstrom were both 3-star. Not that they're bad, but they were both 3-star recruits.
Jamal Wallace also was.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's a good thing for Tennessee football overall. I think that's the growth of the fact that blue chip ratio is starting to swing in the right direction. And the 3-star players that were, promised a shot at playing are starting to realize that, dang, they're getting some high caliber talent in here. I'm not going to be able to compete. I'm going somewhere else where I can play.
And that's all it is for those 3 guys.
Yeah, that's
for those 3 guys right there. It's seeing the writing on the wall. I'm probably not going to see any playing time. I want to go somewhere where I can play.
Yep,
that's all that is. It's not a Tennessee problem. That's all it is. And I wish them all the best in the world. I hope that they have success wherever they end up.
Speaking of success after they move on from Tennessee, Gas Pipe with a start this weekend.
I saw that. I'm going to have to watch that game.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Only other thing I have, I do want to bring up the Joey Aguilar comment that was asked earlier as far as, is he coming back next season? And I agree completely with you. I would hope that he does. For the simple fact that year 2 in Heupel's system.
We haven't had it. Haven't had it.
Well, we had it with Hendon Hooker.
No, you didn't. He was not a starter for 2 years.
But it was still his second season in the system, though.
Correct, but he was not the day 1 starter. In fact, I think it took him 3 or 4 weeks to win it in season 1.
It took him 2 weeks because of the Joe Milton injury in week 2 against Pittsburgh.
Okay, whatever. But regardless, you've not had starting quarterback 2 years in a row.
Yeah, but still. A second season in Josh Heupel's system.
You've seen the growth, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that would be amazing. Here's why I don't think it's going to happen, though, unfortunately.
Because his last name's not Pavia.
Well, that's one thing. But this whole case that Joey Aguilar has attached his name to, which, is that Diego Pavia case to get another year because of the JUCO eligibility type deal. I've got a feeling that we won't see a ruling on that until after the transfer portal window closes.
Yep.
So Josh Heupel in Tennessee, they're going to have a sit down with Joey Aguilar and be like, look, we would love to have you back for another year, but we also have to think about the future. And we've still got Jake Merklinger. You've still got George McIntyre. You've still got Faison Brandon behind them. And you're right. As of right now, that's the case. Here's the other thing, though. So, one of these guys is likely to enter the portal. And it's probably going to be Jake Merklinger. Or But if he doesn't, you're entering spring practice with 3 scholarship quarterbacks, not including Joey Aguilar if he still sticks around. If you go into the offseason with 3 scholarship quarterbacks, you don't need to get a transfer portal quarterback because there's not a spring window anymore. So if none of those guys enter the portal during this winter window, they're with Tennessee unless they just decide to, opt out of the entire season after spring practice. There's not another portal window. So one of those guys would be your guy. But if one of them enters the portal, at that point, in my opinion, you're going to have to go and get a transfer portal quarterback, kind of like what we did with Joey Aguilar this year. I'm not going to guarantee you a starting position right off the bat, but I'm going to give you a chance to compete for that starting position.
That's right.
And I'm still going to give my guy, George McIntyre, I'm still going to give my guy, Faison Brandon, a chance for that starting spot as well. Or maybe it is Jake Merklinger. Maybe he sticks around and McIntyre leaves. We don't know what's going to happen. We've got a feeling that Merklinger is going to leave and the other two are going to stick around, but we don't know what's going to happen at this point. But either way, you've got to have 3 guys on scholarship going in the next season. And I've got a feeling that unless they get a ruling quick, Joey Aguilar is not going to be one of those guys.
Fair enough.
Well, you got anything else on Tennessee football news before we move ahead to segment 3? We talk about the CFP and we bring Jake on to talk a little bit about all that.
No, man. Let's get to it. What's our segment 3 sponsor?
All right, our segment 3 sponsor, it is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So I guess you hear the keys tapping in the background as Jake is in. He is in. We are waiting for his picture to come on screen, which we might want to hold off a little bit. We don't know if we want to lose viewers yet or not. Sorry, Jake, you are here. He is.
I'm right here. Oh,
What's up, big dog? How we doing?
oh, just enjoying this dumb football season that makes no sense to anybody ever. Great signing day.
Yes. It is Josh Heupel's best class. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think 7th in the nation, according to On3. I am genuinely surprised on some of the flips that we were able to get on signing day, and including one that I think has kind of stolen the spotlight because of how weird it is. But Legend Bay.
Yeah.
What
we
are your
didn't even
thoughts?
talk about that.
No, I mean, and I mean, Jake's just so good at opening the door. Let's go ahead and talk about that recruitment and everything within. We're talking about a guy that was committed to Tennessee for months, flips his commitment November to Ohio State, and then for signing day in December, flips back. And rumors are because his parents were really pushing him to go to Tennessee and would not actually sign the letter of intent because he's 17. He had to have his parents' consent. So how much of that rumor are you buying into? Because there's a quick way to get around that whole deal, and that's seriously just wait. You could have just waited.
February.
Yeah, exactly. You did not have to sign the national letter of intent that day or whatnot. So, how much stock you put into that rumor, and are you feeling like me, and that's actually nothing, and I think Legend Bay is actually here to stay?
I saw a little bit about it as far as what they were saying on Twitter about how he's posting on TikTok, and then he posts on Twitter and that gets deleted. I think that a lot of this situation comes from a place of high emotion, and money talks. I mean, we have to understand what money can do. That's really, you got a 17-year-old kid who's probably going to now be making 10 times, I don't know, who knows, 20 times more than what his parents are making. And he's, the real decision maker here in theory. I think that after everything was all said and done, I know that Heupel directly addressed this situation and said that, hey, I was on the phone with the kid when he signed his papers. You know, that tells me a lot about where they stand. I know that, if you look at Ohio State Twitter, they've trashed Tennessee coaches, staff, calling us shady, yada, yada, yada. I don't think what we're doing is shady. I think that what we did is we stayed true to who we were and we continued to pursue a kid even after he committed, which you have to do in this day and age. I think getting Jim Knowles is a huge deal for the morale for Legend Bay too, because I see him as a Caleb Downs type player. I see him as a kid you're going to put right in that spot and play him all over the field defensively.
That's right.
Personally, he could be an outstanding playmaker both ways. Who knows? But when I watch that kid run, I love the way he looks, especially with the way that Jim Knowles plays. Practically a 3 safety look. It was wild. I remember watching it in 2024 and I'm like, man, I haven't really seen somebody key on us like this. So I think that we keep him. I do.
Well, Jake, I do want to bring up one thing that you said there. Ultimately, he's the decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
Is he though?
Yes.
Because there has also been reports that, and I haven't seen a reliable source say this,
Mm-hmm.
but supposedly his mother actually came to Knoxville, got the signing papers on her own without Legend Bay present, and then mysteriously he flips from Ohio State to Tennessee on National Signing Day. Now, I'm not saying that she forced his signature, but did she forge his signature on that document?
But as he said, he was like Josh Heupel, from his words, like he was on the phone with him while he signed the paper. So I would rather take that word than some sort.
Sign
I
these
agree.
papers. That's what we'd be hearing. It's that would be the only. And at that point, that kid's got far more problems than the custody battle you're going to have between Ohio State and Tennessee. If you've got a parent like that who is so set on their kid's future, then that's an oddity. You don't see a lot of those, and sadly you don't see a lot of it work out. T. Higgins, he was on my 7-on-7 team. And he told me 2 days before he went to sign with Clemson, he was, hey, I'm going to Tennessee. And then flipped it. Everybody thought he was going to Tennessee. He's telling friends and family he's going to Tennessee. Flips the other way. Best decision that young man ever made. I think he would have been great in orange. He was better in that orange because he got out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this isn't the same thing for Legend Bay. I don't think it is. I just think that this is a miscommunication. I think that if, again, you pressure a kid and all of a sudden all this stuff comes out that, I want to sign over here now, or hey, they're taking a kid over me. Because let's be honest, Ohio State can land anybody they want just as much as any other team. Let's say Ohio State pumped in maybe 1 or 2 extra kids in that position that he's like, what are they doing? I thought it was the guy. There's so many ways to second think your choice even after you've signed. I mean, think about you buy a new car. You're like, man, why'd I spend all this money on this? Or anything that you do in your life. You're like, well, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Backtracking, all this to be said, I don't believe anything that the media is saying. The only thing that I believe is yes, his mom heavily wants him to go to Tennessee. I do think that Ohio State is still making a push, knowing the dynamic between his mom and his decisions. I think that the Jim Knowles decision kind of shut the book. That's just my gut. I have no
agree with that.
sources telling me that, but I'm telling you, I spent a long time watching what Jim Knowles
Because
does
he's
on
going to be a
defense.
defensive back. It's
Is that what
our wide receiver room is way too loaded for him to. I mean, I understand he may be a good wide receiver, but I feel like the team needs him at defensive back.
I agree with that.
And he's a hitter. I mean, he'll come down. I mean, and you don't see that from an offensive player.
And he has a chance to play day one. Genuinely, August 30th or whatever our first game is, like you could see Legend Bay in the secondary.
September the 5th. I'm actually
right on.
At the very end. I've actually got Tennessee's schedule that has dropped now on SEC Network. I've got the entire schedule pulled up here.
Well, how about let's just talk about what we brought Jake up here to talk about, and that is the college football playoff without Tennessee. The volunteer less
broken, man. The system's
it's so
broken. Dude.
Honestly, though, it is. And we got a lot to break down about it. We're going to talk about the main situation here, that everybody has an issue with JMU being in, but nobody's blaming the person that's actually, or the conference that's actually at fault here.
ACC.
I don't
The
have a problem
ACC
at all with James Madison being in.
I have a problem
massive
with
problem.
you getting Tulane and JMU in.
Right.
I don't have a problem with it.
It's then you're just all about fairness and participation trophies. And
No. Look. If we're gonna set the precedent that it's gonna be the top 5 conference champions, if that's gonna be the precedent, then I don't have a problem.
No,
with
I agree with ACC being punished in that way, but the ACC was able to dodge that bullet, thankfully, because Miami got in as an at-large. It essentially took away an at-large bid because Miami should have had that ACC, but they sucked. They couldn't win their games, and this is why I don't understand how they were still rewarded to get in the playoff. But let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
JMU, I'm not going to talk about because, like you said,
Alabama.
Yes, Alabama.
Those are your okay. You've got 5 you can talk about. You can talk about Notre Dame. You can talk about Miami. You can talk about Alabama, and then you can talk about the 2 at-large conference champions. You can talk about Tulane and James Madison.
You're missing one major
You got
team.
one more team.
You're missing one major team. No, y'all are missing another major team.
If you say Vanderbilt,
I swear to God, it's Vanderbilt.
it's not Vanderbilt.
I don't disagree. I don't.
No. You can't look at Miami's resume and then completely disregard Vanderbilt's.
I don't disagree. Here's my problem. You could have resolved this entire situation
by putting in BYU and taking out Miami. I agree with that 100%.
I think you put in Notre Dame and take out Alabama.
I disagree with that.
I don't think you put in either one of them.
I disagree with that. Y'all got to stop. Y'all have got to stop being Tennessee fans and trying to punish Alabama for losing the championship game.
No, because the way that they've
What do
done
you mean no?
Listen,
you can't punish a
who's
team that
better,
actually
JMU,
played.
JMU or Duke?
What's that?
Who's better, JMU or Duke?
I honestly
Who's
think
better?
JMU
I'd say
is better than
JMU
Duke
is
this
better
year.
than Duke.
Okay, Tulane or Duke?
Tulane.
Maybe.
Tulane beat them head to
Duke
head.
is 7-5, dude. They got into the
I
freaking
agree.
ACC championship based on a
agree.
technicality.
The
Basically
problem
based on a coin flip.
The problem is the technicality, because what you're doing is you're not rating teams based on how good they are. You're basing it off of wins and losses, which if you're going
Correct.
to do that, then Alabama has to be punished in the fashion that they lost their game.
I disagree with that, though. I disagree with that tape because of why you're trying to take Alabama out to put in another team that's really not deserving.
So
you're
I'm
telling
gonna.
me Notre
I'm
Dame,
going
who lost to 7 Texas and
A&M.
12? Yeah, Texas A&M and number 12 Miami.
Yeah.
That's a
I don't give a shit who you lost to. Who did you beat?
So this is where I'm going.
Exactly.
I'm going to agree with Jake, and I'm going to take it one step further with Alabama. It's the way that you lost that game to Georgia, and it's the way that you finished the season.
You have the worst loss out of any team in the playoff.
Look, Alabama.
They do have the worst loss, but they were already. No, do they have the worst loss?
Look,
State.
Florida State. Yep.
Who's Miami's worst loss?
NC State.
Yeah, it was an in-conference opponent.
NC State.
NC State's better than Florida State.
Are they?
Is NC State ranked?
No.
But
okay, fair enough. Whatever. I don't care.
Well,
Alabama beat Georgia. They have one of the best wins as well, so I can literally debunk that. So,
all right, look here. Let's each of us kind of give our thoughts on this. So, for me, we mentioned the 5 teams there: Notre Dame, Miami, BYU, Alabama, and we'll throw Vanderbilt in there. We'll give our arguments on each of those, why they should have been in and why they shouldn't be in the playoffs. For me, Alabama should have been punished for that loss in the conference championship game because of the way they lost that game, but also the way they finished the season. Because how many of these teams, how many teams have do we talk about what have you done for me lately type of deals? Alabama peaked in weeks 3 through 8. And they have, granted, they've won games. They've won their games other than that Oklahoma game. Alabama should have been left out of the playoffs for the way that they finished that season.
You're so wrong. I literally don't even know. I've never disagreed with you more in my life.
All right, so here we go here. This is where I'm going to throw in BYU. So you're going to reward a 10-3 Alabama team that lost their conference championship game, and you're going to punish an 11-2 BYU that also lost their conference championship game, and their only other loss of the season was to that same team that beat them in the conference
You
championship
just
game.
answered why. Alabama's literally beaten Georgia earlier in the year. So technically, Alabama
They
can
also
say they
lost to
beat
Florida
the SEC.
State.
You can't just throw that back up, dude. I'm saying like
You 100% can. You also lost to Oklahoma at home. Granted, they are a college football
I was
playoff
gonna say
team.
that's a good loss.
So is Texas Tech.
I wanted to correct myself. Miami lost to 8-4 Louisville and 8-4 SMU. They did not
Okay,
lose to NC State.
SMU is who I was thinking of, but thank you. But
just
either
wanted to
way,
correct
8-4, 8-4.
Texas
The
Tech
point
is also a
is-
college football playoff team, and
Texas Tech
BYU
is.
lost to them twice.
Hadn't beat them once. Exactly. Alabama made the SEC championship, which Ty, man, you freaking nailed it, man. That is a reward to play in that spot. And why would you do anything other than reward a team for making that game? Because if you set the precedent that you're going to punish a team for losing that game, you're going to see teams forfeit the conference championship. You're going to see them purposely lose.
Just answered the question about BYU. They got punished for losing that game.
No, they had to win that game. No, they had to win that. They
got
had to
punished
prove that they could
for
win that
losing
game.
that game. BYU should be in right now.
I agree.
They should be in over Miami.
But I can make that argument with you, but you're not going to tell me that Alabama should have been out and that BYU should have been in. I agree with you 100%. I think the right move is Miami out, BYU in. You dodge the Notre Dame Miami thing. But
yes, so I'll agree with you there. We can agree with that right there. If you're
this is why Alabama's in 100%. I mean, this plus beating Georgia, like it didn't matter how they played in the SEC championship, in my opinion.
So if we're gonna have Alabama in, BYU should have gotten in as well. That's all my argument is.
I agree.
So Miami at that point should have been left out.
The only reason why I disagree with that is because Alabama actually beat the team that they played, though.
All right, that's it. I'm pulling my notepad. Just
pull your notepad. I'm just saying, like Alabama earlier in the year actually beat Georgia. So like it's BYU on the other hand had 2 opportunities to beat Texas Tech, and they didn't even come close.
Okay, so
like,
who's number 1's Indiana? We can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
Who's number 2?
Ohio State.
Okay.
I don't think you dropped them just for losing that game.
I could argue Georgia over Ohio State, but
it's 2 and 3 or Georgia, Ohio State, right?
Yes, correct.
The technicalities. Who's 4?
I could
4 is Texas Tech.
I could put Texas Tech over Georgia, but that's just pulling straws at that point.
No, you're not.
We know
Stop,
the first
Michael.
7,
You're really gonna
8 teams
raise my blood pressure.
What? Let's say 5 is who?
5 is Oregon.
But I could argue A&M should be 5.
I could put A&M at 5.
Okay, so let's say Oregon.
So then A&M's a very close 6. I don't know how in the world Ole Miss jumped A&M.
I don't agree with that. I was
especially with the y'all were talking about how like the way FSU got treated 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. Like I at least thought Ole Miss would drop a spot or 2 from the coaching change, and then they go up a spot. Like I was like, what? So
you're gonna put 7 Ole Miss. I'm assuming 8 is Oklahoma.
Yeah, I would leave them.
It's
at 8.
Gotta be.
Okay, over Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama.
Which Alabama takes it over Miami, Notre Dame, in my opinion.
So you've got your 8 teams. We can all agree on those 8 teams, and you got to put, sadly, 2 conference champions in.
Which is that is the biggest disgrace in the playoff.
Having
these auto bids is the worst thing for the playoff. Dude. It's so stupid.
And I'll agree with that. But because they set the precedent of the top 5 conference champions.
No, like it makes my heart happy that the ACC got punished for that, but then like again, they got out of it because somehow Miami freaking backdoored their way into an at-large, which is dumb.
I'm just asking.
I think that's one. I think that's right there why Miami got in, because that way they had an ACC team in. I think that's 100% why that happened.
So, but who? You got 8. Who's the 9th?
Who's the 9th?
Got to be
Vanderbilt.
BYU. No,
it's Vanderbilt.
BYU.
It's Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Once
so
again,
you
cannot punish BYU if you're going to reward Alabama.
So you have 2
How?
10-2, 11-2 teams. You okay? Let's just assume BYU is 10-2. Okay.
What's BYU's best win? I'm so tired of him saying that.
What's BYU's best win? Utah.
Utah was a good win.
Is it?
Yeah. Utah is their
Utah is 10-2, ranked 15th, just behind Vanderbilt.
Sorry, Utah beat 2 ranked teams in Arizona and Utah. BYU beat you. Yeah.
So they had
Arizona.
2 total ranked wins,
Yes.
and their best
So-
one being a 15th.
So and you go to Vandy. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you didn't put Vandy over.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to go because Vandy lost to 14, and they in theory lost to what 9?
Yes, Texas and Alabama.
Yeah. So
if
okay.
you're going to put in Miami, which basically you're already discrediting BYU, and that's something we can't control at that point. At that point, you can't put in Miami and not even like snicker at Vanderbilt.
Well, you've got what? You have to get 5 in. So Indiana's in, Georgia's in. And I mean, other than that, you've got who? Texas Tech's in. So
No, BYU got screwed.
BYU didn't get screwed, bro.
I will live and die on that hill.
You can live and die on that, and I get that, but
No,
BYU
Vandy
had
got
2
screwed.
chances to beat Texas Tech.
Vandy
Okay.
actually kind of got screwed.
I'll give you the
I hate
Vandy
to
got
say it.
screwed.
Dude, Michael,
I
you're
hate
on
to
an
say it.
island, dog. We got listeners. We got Jake.
I will give you that Vandy got screwed, but you cannot sit here and say that BYU did not get screwed when Alabama was put in for losing the conference championship game and BYU was
To a team
left
that they
out
beat.
for
Let's
losing it.
To a team that
let's
they
go
beat
away from
previously.
this. We got our conference champions in, guys. I just want we're voters. It's very simple. Who's the number 9 team? Because
It's
you have Notre
Vanderbilt.
Dame,
It's BYU.
you have Miami, you've got Vanderbilt and BYU. I see a BYU team that has 2 ranked wins, and yes, lost twice. They were playing close games to everybody.
Except Texas Tech.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If it's me, I take Miami over Vanderbilt and Notre Dame.
How do you
I
take
agree.
Miami over Vanderbilt?
Well, actually, no. I think I take Notre Dame over Miami, even though the head-to-head.
So how do you
I
take
don't.
either one of those teams over Vanderbilt? Stop looking at it like it's. I get it, dude. As a Tennessee fan, this is so
Okay.
hard for me to comprehend. But
So-
how do
so-
you take those teams over Vanderbilt? I
10
genuinely got to know this.
And 11 and 12, it has to be JMU and Tulane, just because the stupidest rule I've ever seen.
Yes,
So
I
you've
agree
got-
100%.
You've got
So we're
2
still.
spots.
So we
You've
got 2 spots. If we got 2 spots, it's BYU and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
It's
And
BYU.
BYU.
Yeah, and every team in there is either 10 and 2 or better. That honestly,
And Vanderbilt's resume over the 10-2 teams is better, undoubted. Like literally, you strip the logos and
Well,
everything. Like
Notre Dame might have.
But
It's either Notre Dame, BYU, or
Couple of
Vanderbilt.
losses.
It's Notre Dame, BYU, or Vanderbilt. That's the only way you can do it. Because again, I know we're going to say head-to-head Miami. Notre Dame had not a bad loss. They did not have a bad loss.
I just, to me, like it always is, what great wins do you have? I don't care who you lost to. The committee doesn't care who you lost to. They look at that number in the loss column. That's all they care about. But
once
in
again-
Alabama's case, they have literally beaten the SEC champion. I don't care that they lost to them in the SEC championship. They now have literally one of the best, other than Indiana's win. They have the best win in college football. Can't take that away. Like,
so I'll give you Alabama, but I'm still gonna sit here. If it's down between BYU and Vanderbilt, once
which
again,
it's not. It shouldn't have been.
BYU made their conference championship game,
All
and
right.
they're being punished for losing that game.
Hold up. So you're giving BYU the nod over Vanderbilt because they got into an easier conference championship game?
I'm not.
You're
punishing-
rewarding Alabama for getting their 3rd loss in the conference title game. I know the other. All right, so I completely get your other argument.
Nice.
So-
But once again, you're punishing BYU for losing that game, but you're rewarding Alabama for losing it.
It's not really in my opinion, it's not really punishing BYU when the expectation going into the game was they had to win to get in. Like,
All the committee did was just set the precedent that if you're in the SEC or if you're in the Big Ten and your 3rd loss comes in the conference title game, you're going to be in. But if you're in the
Michael?
Big 12 or you're in the ACC, if your 2nd loss comes in the conference title game, you're
the
being
same
left out
team
because it's
by
not a
20
strong
plus
enough
points.
conference.
I've got it. It's
Who's-
really simple.
who's a better conference? Big 12 or SEC?
It's the
depends. Is
SEC,
Texas Tech going to win the
but-
Natty this year?
No, but they're going to
could.
be runner-up to Ohio State.
I'm not going to say the runner-up, but I think they could win the first round or two. No, because they got a bye. They might actually lose the first game. I'll take that back.
They're going to be runner-up to Ohio
I'm
State
going to
this year.
say that it was going to be BYU and Notre Dame.
Let me ask y'all a better question, since we're getting all on hypotheticals here, and this conversation's lasted a lot longer than I thought it ever would. You put BYU in Vanderbilt's schedule, what do they do? And vice versa. You put Vanderbilt in BYU's schedule, what do they do? Because I think Vanderbilt could do exactly what BYU did if Vanderbilt had BYU's schedule. However, I do not think BYU does exactly what Vanderbilt did. I don't even think they come close, really, if they had Vanderbilt's schedule.
And you're probably right, but you can't look at it that way if you're the committee.
Well, the arguments that you're making is basically the SEC and the Big 12 are equal. Thus, the second place teams of both, regardless how they lose or win, should get in. Like that. That's exactly what you're.
I'm now rescinding my BYU and putting Vanderbilt in.
Thank you.
But all I'm saying is you set that precedent. You set the precedent for the SEC.
I think that precedent's been set, though. Like, I don't think that's something that happened yesterday.
BYU had one win against a ranked opponent.
So here's exactly what is going to happen here in the next couple of years. Because you set that precedent, you're about to have the Big Ten, the SEC. They're going to break away and have a super conference.
It's not setting a precedent, dude. It's all
That's
about
exactly
resume.
what it's doing.
It's not. It's not.
It's setting the precedent. That's
how many
exactly
ranked
what it's
wins
doing.
did Alabama have, Jake? Since you said
I don't
BYU had
care.
one. What do you mean? So you don't care about the actual way you get into the playoff? What the playoff committee literally says is important.
Look, I've already said that I agree with you on this right here. Alabama, because of their
But you clearly
wins,
don't. Like, that's the thing.
I don't think Alabama should be in for losing the conference title game and BYU left out. That's all I'm saying.
I think that, to me, sounds like a butthurt Tennessee fan that Alabama got in.
No. Look, did Alabama deserve it because of all the ranked wins that they got over the regular season? Because they got the second best win over the entire season? Yeah, they deserve to be in. That Florida State loss is still there, though. But
you done pissed off Ty too, brother.
I don't really care.
You're counting and he makes a great point. You're counting a third loss as if it's like a regular season loss and not like a extracurricular like reward type game.
Okay.
Alabama had 3 ranked wins.
3 current ranked or like
current,
at the time.
I'm doing
That's
current.
what I figured.
I'm trying to go by the
So
system.
Alabama had 3 times as many ranked wins as BYU. They also beat the SEC champion.
Okay, so let's pull this back up right here. We're saying if teams in the SEC championship game that have already made the CFP spot get their third loss in that game, should still make the college football playoff.
Don't skip over they have already made their CFP spot because BYU didn't have their spot.
But they
already.
should have.
I don't care if you think they should have. They didn't.
All right. So 11-1 BYU, should they be in the college football playoffs?
In a Big 12 with only 1 ranked win? No.
That one loss coming to Texas Tech?
By 30 points? No.
That's where I disagree.
In the regular season.
That's 100% where I disagree.
I
okay.
don't care. Vanderbilt should have been over. Vanderbilt should have been
Vanderbilt
in,
may not have needed to be over. Vandy didn't have a single ranked win. Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate because Tennessee is the way they beat Tennessee is the reason why they're not ranked. So
they had one ranked win against number 25 Missouri.
Because I think that's unfortunate for them. So
if you're going to do that,
because at the time of they were ranked, I think they beat like 2 or 3 top 10 ranked teams.
Yeah, okay. At the end of the day, this is what my gut's telling me. You're going to go 1 Indiana, 2 Ohio State, 3 Georgia, 4. Who cares about these? Texas Tech, Oregon, A&M, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. That's 8. Okay, and then you've got 9 and 10 are the only spots that you're really worried about. Is those last 2 teams because 11
which we
and 12
both
are gonna
agree
be
it should be BYU and Vanderbilt.
No, it breaks down to be Notre Dame, Miami. If you go off of worst loss. You go off of what your best wins are. It's going to be Notre Dame, Miami.
And at that point, it should be Miami because of the head-to-head.
Yeah.
Well, there's still 2 spots open. I don't know how we have 2 spots open, but are we missing a team? I feel like we're missing a team.
You took out Alabama.
No, Alabama's got to be in.
You're missing BYU as the team we're arguing for,
which is not in.
Miami and Notre Dame both had more ranked wins and had practically the exact same record.
Is Alabama?
No, Alabama's out. Alabama's
out.
You have the worst loss. I know that you all think, again, you should be punished for losses. I hate to say it, you have to be punished for losses. Otherwise, you're going to argue the transitive property. Well, this team beat this team, so therefore, no, it doesn't work like that. Let me see what your body of work on the season is. That's how they did it last year.
Yep.
I don't know what they did this year. They must have just popped bottles and decided to spin a wheel.
I genuinely don't think BYU was punished in their Big 12 game. I just think they weren't already in the playoff. They didn't win the game, and then they didn't move up. Like,
it goes back to your conference needs to be competitive.
Exactly.
So let me flip this real quick. All right. If BYU had beaten Texas Tech,
they're in. Without a doubt.
Is Texas Tech in?
Absolutely.
Yes, because Texas Tech is what?
And they had beaten the Big 12 champion. Like that, yes. Like, that's a fact.
Because it was Texas Tech. Who is their loss? They have a loss?
They
had a loss. It wasn't a good. I think it was Houston that beat them, if I'm not mistaken. It was a team that they shouldn't have lost to.
But
it was the 1 week that you decided to bet on them.
They would have been in, but they would have been the worst at-large bid. They would have been like the 10th team if Texas Tech has a second loss in the Big 12 championship. BYU, yeah, 1,000%, they would have been in.
All right, so Jake, whenever you look that up, I also want you to look at Texas Tech's ranked wins.
Looking at Texas Tech.
It was Arizona State, by the way, that beat Texas Tech.
A game that they shouldn't have lost.
Oh, fact, 100%.
So yeah, when you looked at how many ranked wins did Texas Tech also have?
They probably didn't have one.
So with your argument, Skylar, Texas Tech should have been left out if BYU was also left out. If
Sure.
BYU had won that game. But you're sitting here saying...
Wrong. There's one major caveat, actually.
It's body of work.
Not even that, Michael. They would have still beaten BYU earlier in the year by 30 points. So they had beaten the Big 12 champion, which BYU cannot say they've done.
But if BYU had won that conference championship game, that's where I'm getting at. If they had won the game.
Okay, but that's all you're changing, then BYU gets in because then they won the Big 12 champion.
Yes, but then this Texas
Tech. And then
Tech,
Texas Tech, I would still say yes because they had beaten BYU, the Big 12 champion, earlier in the year.
Here's the problem with BYU. So if you look at the body of work, okay, let's say BYU and Texas Tech have the exact same record. Okay, just take out the conference championship game and add an extra loss to Texas Tech for whatever, right? Because BYU lost to
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech twice. Okay, I'm looking at the schedule right now. BYU 12 points against Cincinnati. They barely beat Colorado by a field goal,
which is sad. Colorado's 3-9.
I mean, I'm looking.
That's also when Colorado was decent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I mean, they beat Utah.
We're arguing the wrong teams, though. Like
you are. Well, yes.
BYU, if like whatever. Let's say they're in, but what we need to be arguing is how in the world Miami got in and Vanderbilt didn't.
How did Miami get in and Notre Dame didn't?
I don't
That's
care.
the biggest argument there.
Because the head-to-head, bro. Like, that's not...
Who cares?
I do! Why play the game if you're not going to take that in consideration?
Can I ask you a question? We had Alabama lose to Georgia, and then we had Georgia beat Alabama. So you're telling me that we can define definitely who's the better team based on that, right? So is Georgia better than Alabama, or is Alabama better than Georgia? Or was it just like I caught them on an off week?
I mean, Georgia's no doubt playing better ball right now.
Okay. What about 2 weeks ago? What about next week?
2 weeks ago, it gets kind of shady because Alabama was on a freaking heater, and I would have almost bet money.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll disagree on that.
Alabama
hasn't played well over the last 3
Dude,
weeks.
Georgia struggled against Florida. They struggled against freaking Georgia Tech. They like Georgia's not played perfect either. Like
the whole point I'm trying to make here is head to head doesn't really matter to me when you get to the top 12. Well, at this point, top 10 teams, because we're just saying 11 and 12 is a joke.
I disagree because if you literally played the team, that's got to matter. That's got to matter. Why, like genuinely. Like, that's why every tiebreaker in every conference literally comes down. The very first tiebreaker is, okay, well, did they play each other head to head? Who won that game? They get that's gotta matter. And I think that's exactly what the committee did here is we got a tied resume. Did they play head to head? Yes, they
though?
did. Here's where the committee messed up. They had Notre Dame ahead of them the entire time.
100%. This is where we're getting at right here.
The Notre Dame was ahead of them the entire time, and I don't have a problem with Notre Dame trying to sue them or whatever because they were led on to think that they were already past Miami, and then all of a sudden they changed everything on the final week and said, nope, Miami actually had the hit. You should have taken that into consideration from day one.
That's the biggest.
How in the world they
with
jumped them when neither team played a week or whatever? Like, I don't know, but again, I will revert to, we're still arguing the wrong. If you had these resumes, and I kid you not, I don't care what you think or the ranked wins that you pulled up or the best losses. Vanderbilt not being in this thing is actually absurd. No, Notre Dame or Miami. Vanderbilt not being in over either one of those teams is actually crazy. Think about if you were a Tennessee fan and you go 10-2 and you won your last game of the regular season the way they did in their house against a ranked opponent when they played, and you got the Heisman front runner, and you don't get in the playoff, dude. No shot.
The problem to me with this entire ranking system is there's no consistency. You need to have like a weighted value on it. Ty, I don't disagree. There's no argument to you if you're having Miami over Notre Dame because like the argument has already been made when they put Alabama in.
Right.
That's the problem. If you were going to put in Notre Dame, you should have just put in BYU if you're going to keep Alabama in.
But I think
you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we've been building this. We've been building this bracket with Vanderbilt or with Alabama out. Is that how we had the two teams?
Yeah, I mean, I
disagree with that 100%.
How do I share
Alabama's
my
in
here?
I don't know. Alabama's in my opinion, man. Like, there's no way you're going to punish a team for losing the SEC championship. You're talking about the second place team in the SEC, but you're going to allow the third, the fourth, the fifth best team, but you're not going to allow the second best team because they lost to the first best team. Like, come on,
give me just a second, Jake.
Come on.
I mean, that's the way I have it broken down right now, and the only argument you could make is you plug Alabama and BYU in place of Notre Dame, Miami. You see what I'm saying?
Notre Dame, Miami needs to be out.
This is the only argument you can make right now.
No, it needs to be Alabama, BYU, or Alabama, Vanderbilt. It is, and I would put Vanderbilt over BYU, 100,000%.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm seeing, and again.
And then you could thank the ACC for screwing it up because Miami should be in where JMU's at if the tiebreakers of the ACC wasn't so jacked up.
Yeah, I mean you take away this. You just take away this, and you don't care about the conference championships anymore because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're Notre Dame, you don't even have a shot at it, and you can just slide anybody in. You can go, if you really wanted to punish losses. My gosh, how hard?
Well, you gotta have Tulane somewhere. You could put Tulane where BYU's at or Alabama.
That's what he's saying is if we get rid of the group of 5 thing, those automatic bids, then you don't have Tulane, you don't have James Madison, and you can just stick Miami.
Well, not even the auto bid. Alabama. Yeah, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but I don't mind the best group of 5 team being in. Like, that's not a problem to me.
It is to me.
The ACC throwing a wrench in the bicycle spokes is what literally threw all this thing in a like. I don't know. It's stupid. It is so bad. But for y'all to say punish teams for this, punish teams for that, but then you're going to reward a team like Notre Dame for losing its only 2 like competitive games on their schedule and basically schedule. You want to get mad at the SEC for having a cupcake game in November, but you look at Notre Dame's schedule and they have cupcake games every freaking week. Like, to me, like, it's just such a double standard that I hate having to argue.
And Notre Dame, in my opinion, should not be in because, like you said, they should not have been rewarded for their schedule. So I don't have an argument for Notre Dame being in at all. They should be left out.
Only reason I have an argument for Notre Dame is their
brand.
It's the insurance here. How can you say they're worse than any team because they've lost to 7-12?
Because they don't have the good wins, Jake. Like, it's not about the playoff committee has made it very clear. It doesn't matter about the best teams anymore. It's about like the resume, and Notre Dame just ain't got it. Like,
Texas Tech really, I mean, other than the fact that they're beating up on cupcakes.
I'd agree, but they're the Big 12 champion. So
yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Like, slide Texas Tech down to maybe 7. Just based off of
they got the top 4s. But you're trying to change the whole daggum thing, and I'm not. I'm trying to
think it needs
change
be
what is.
changed.
I'm
It
trying.
needs to be
I agree
changed.
with all of that, but I'm trying to only change what was actually controllable. And in this situation, it was the decision to put in Miami over Vanderbilt or BYU. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. I literally don't know how they got to that. And I know why they got to that is because they couldn't fathom the ACC not having a single representation or a single team represented in this playoff. So they had to throw in somebody. But, dude, Vanderbilt, I'm telling you right now, if Tennessee was in their spot and the way they finished the year the way they did, you have a Heisman front runner for the very first time in school history, and their team and they get snubbed from the dude, our streets would be burning.
Quick question.
You're probably not wrong, but first off, Tennessee wouldn't have a Heisman front runner because ESPN hates Tennessee.
Dude, stop changing the
I have a question. Is Diego Pavia going to win the Heisman?
yes.
No.
That's what I love right there. That's what you two right there is what I needed to hear. I
Michael,
heard a
bro,
yes
I've
and a
never
no.
been this far off with you in my life, dog.
Look, do I think Diego
If you say
Pavia should
Mendoza
win
gets it with his grand old
No.
13 points over freaking okay, so who is it?
No. Do I think that Diego Pavia should win it? Yes, because of the body of work he has done. But here's who I think is going to win it.
If
They're
you
going to
say
give it to Jeremiah Love.
You Notre
No
Dame.
chance.
Why don't you suck them
They're
off
going-
even
No
more?
chance.
No,
Dude,
no
suck
chance.
them off
No
even more.
chance.
You want me to give you
I'm
something?
not.
Here,
I
you
am
want
not.
to like? I don't know
look
why
at
I had.
Vegas.
I am
like,
not. But
No.
ESPN does.
You were blowing your
Dude,
This
what
is
are
so
you
wild.
ESPN does, which
You
is
were-
why
I'll
Jeremiah
have
Love
what
is
he's
going
having.
to.
You have
I don't
Dude.
want him to win it.
No.
I think Diego
Julian
Pavia
Sayin
should.
has a better chance of winning than he does, bro. Like it's not even close. Look at the freaking odds, bro. It's
That's
not
what I'm
that
pulling
hard.
up.
No shot.
Diego
I ain't
Pavia
even-
should win it, but he's not going to because they're going to screw him out of it. I'm just gonna leave it right.
No,
there.
in fact, I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's like one of those. We feel so bad that Vanderbilt didn't get in. We're going to give you the Heisman because at least you got something. Like
Fernando Mendoza is. Oh my gosh. Fernando Mendoza is at minus 2,000 for the odds to win it.
oh, so you think Frankie will win it then? Yeah.
And then they're saying
If-
Diego Pavia is at plus 900. Jeremiah Love is at plus 40,000.
So it's literally a two-man race here. And
Yeah.
Where's
I-
Julian saying that?
Dude,
if
you put
third
me back
place is
there and I got a Heisman
40,000,
campaign
yeah.
working.
But like, so clearly they're giving it. If they give it to Mendoza, it's because he's undefeated and the story behind it.
And that's what it
his
is. Is the Heisman Award is no longer other than last season with freaking Travis Hunter, but that's still a wholly different.
Should have won it.
I was gonna say that's a totally different story right there. But before then,
I don't know.
it has been the best player on the best team that has gotten it, and that's not what the Heisman is. It's the best player in college football, and right now Diego Pavia is that, but he's not gonna win because he's not the best player on the best team.
Dude,
Ty, we actually talked about this earlier in our show, man. The fact that Joey's the leading passer in the SEC and got zero recognition for it. It's abysmal. He didn't even get all SEC honors. Like it's abysmal, man. It's
that's what happens when you turn the ball over. Hate to say it.
I mean,
that's
I
a
don't.
good point.
Pavia turned the ball over. I mean, okay.
Here's the deal. Pavia was the leading rusher and passer for Vanderbilt.
And Joey Aguilar had like 400 more passing yards alone. So yeah, I mean, if he ran the ball, I mean, kudos to him. But I agree. Pavia is a more dynamic player. But for Joey to not get any recognition whatsoever is kind of absurd.
3,200, 27 and 8. So 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions was Pavia. That's not even including the rushing. And then
So 3 more touchdowns and 2 less interceptions.
On a team that has less talent.
Do they have less talent?
Yes.
They do.
We got outcoached on that.
No, we got outcoached 100%. But I think Vanderbilt has some dogs.
But they don't have more talent overall. They just got older, more experienced.
They're way
guys.
older and experienced.
They're
I was
like
gonna say
the oldest SEC team in the conference, and we're the youngest.
And it's it's far.
So I guess
away
less
their
talented is the right term, but less talented doesn't necessarily
more
mean
experienced.
I was gonna say less talented doesn't necessarily mean worse team.
Correct.
Yeah. Either way,
I love the
back
content
to
I'm going to get to post this week, though.
Back to the CFP, man. I get it. Alabama, in my opinion, was in. Does not matter how they lost that game. And I understand your point of BYU getting punished, but I do think there's just a couple of things that are really big in that scenario, and that's BYU wasn't already in, and secondly, Alabama had already had the win over Georgia previously, whereas BYU didn't have the win over Texas Tech previously. So,
and I get those points. I still feel like that, if you're gonna have Alabama, because I do think that they were in, win or lose. I thought that as well, but I felt like that BYU should have been in, win or lose as well.
Over Miami, I agree.
Yes.
But I hate
when they put the Miami Notre Dame into the conversation.
I can't believe that they put in Miami, right? Basically saying that they've already bypassed BYU.
Mm-hmm.
And how in the world Vanderbilt wasn't even mentioned? I mean, Vanderbilt was below Texas. It doesn't make sense.
When it comes to that argument right there, I will completely agree with you. If you're going to just plug, all right, it's either going to be Miami or Notre Dame since we're bypassing BYU. Why in the world was Vanderbilt not mentioned? I'll completely agree with you on that right
then
there.
That's where I lay my head to rest then.
But the way with everything played out, that's where I'm making my argument for BYU. It should have been.
I think we all agree Miami should have been in there.
Correct. Notre Dame also should not have been in there.
No.
And they were left out.
And the fact that they opted out of their bowl game, dude. If I'm a senior on that team, I'm throwing up the FU bird and asking any other team to take me for the bowl game.
So
I know that's not even legal. I know that's not even legal. But, dude, imagine being a senior on the team thinking you got one more game and it's getting stripped away from you.
So
from a coach's decision of butthurtness.
This is where me and you are going to agree for the first time since segment 2, because I said the exact same thing. This bowl game so for a team like Tennessee that 50% of their roster is freshmen, this bowl game means a lot because you get to see
you literally taking away 3 weeks of practice, bro, that you're stripping away from the team.
We talk about practice.
Yes, we are.
But Jake, you understand how important practice in December is, man.
I do.
It shortens up the off season. I don't everything about it makes sense. But no,
you're going ahead and getting these new signees that are enrolling early, letting them practice as well. You're getting these seniors one last chance to put on that uniform again. These bowl games, even though for the the accolades itself, it doesn't mean much.
And they could have played.
It means a lot for.
And they could have played Vanderbilt, dude. They could have played. They could have played Texas. They could have played against a team that they were like, "Oh, we should have been in." Could you imagine how good of a freaking what it is? They scared. They are so scared.
No,
what was it? Was it Georgia and? Oh, who was it? Georgia got snubbed because they actually lost. Again, you're talking about punishing the SEC.
That was Florida State.
Florida State, yes, dude. That they were scared of Florida State would happen, where they cry like babies because they didn't get in, and then they have to play the next best team in the playoff that didn't get in. Yeah, could you imagine Notre Dame playing? Who's another team that we aside from Vanderbilt? Are we talking Texas? Are we talking
Texas or Utah or Utah?
Utah. I'm just. Yeah. You know what's funny is Shane Gillis has been very quiet here lately.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so
that whole that whole debacle
awesome.
of opting out of a bowl game because your butt hurt, that is next level childish. And the fact that athletic director backs it, it's probably his idea too, which is the saddest thing ever, dude. I said, if I'm a senior on that team, I am suing Notre Dame. I am suing the NCAA for another year of eligibility because I didn't actually get to fulfill my year. You're promised a game. If you win 6 games, you're promised a 13th, right?
Yeah.
And then your team opts out, dude. I would absolutely be going apeshit over everybody. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it would. If I'm a senior on that team, it would blow my mind.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. So before we shift gears to Tennessee's schedule for next season, I do have one question for you guys. So not going to get in depth in the whole.
Thank God, because I've been disagreeing with you all night.
Well, we finally agreed on the whole bowl game thing there.
Yeah, fair enough.
But sorry.
Jake, stop playing
Michigan.
solitaire, bro. Stop sharing your screen. I'm
You don't
joking.
even know I'm playing RuneScape right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it looks like Minecraft, bro.
You see my screen?
Yes.
You still got your screen share on. So
The viewers can't see it, but I can see it.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Y'all can see me making this. Okay. All right, I'm listening.
so
Lock in, bro. Come on.
So we're not going to get in depth in the whole Michigan thing that happened yesterday, but an interesting
Let's
development.
do it.
An interesting development could be happening from that. So Michigan,
Don't you
Sherrod
dare
Moore
say
gets
his
fired.
Javion Hyder. Come on home, big dog. Come on.
I was
home.
going to ask y'all,
Come on.
does
home.
he come to Tennessee if
Probably not.
if he decides to leave Michigan?
Probably not.
No, because what
Yeah.
they're doing is they're going to take everything they're going to pay Coach
Yep.
Moore, and they're going to give it
Yep.
to Hyder.
I was just saying it's too good of a scenario for it to happen to Tennessee. Like, I as much as I'd love the kid to come over here, I think he stays. I mean,
He was
it's unfortunate.
number 1 overall on their board.
Could you imagine Tennessee having the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 wide receiver, the number 1 running back, all in the same class?
Dude,
And what was it, the number 2 or number 3 offensive lineman?
Offensive tackle, yeah, and Gabriel Cinda, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine? Man, almost had it, but Savion had to go commit to a coach that is cheating on his family and allegedly.
great guy, apparently.
Is he?
Exactly, is he?
Allegedly. I don't want to get sued for defamation on this team or on the show. So like allegedly, per the reports that are coming out, allegedly having an inappropriate relationship, which I don't think that means underage. I think that just seriously means probably a relationship with a staffer that's inappropriate for professional like HR purposes, right? And then the fact that the man's married, has kids, like, I don't know, whatever.
That goes out the window when you're coaching ball, man.
Right?
I've seen this
Well,
many times.
if he was winning, nobody would hear about this. That's what's funny.
Correct. Lane Kiffin's sitting here licking his chops because he's got the best situation.
He's literally doing yoga with 30 women
They're
every morning.
probably advocating it.
Yes. It's crazy, bro.
So, see, I've actually got some information with y'all that I'll share off screen as far as the whole Sherrod Moore situation there. Won't do it on podcast. But all right, so last thing that I've got, the 2026 SEC football schedules were announced at 8 Eastern tonight whenever we first went on. I've got Tennessee's schedule pulled up here now. So Tennessee will start the season next season on September the 5th against Furman. September the 12th, you've got the game at Georgia Tech. September 19th.
Dude, that's a dub. That's a dub.
Yeah.
Haynes King ain't even there. Bro, come on.
September the 19th, you welcome in Jerry Mack again as they're playing against Kennesaw State.
3-0.
September 26th, who do y'all think is Tennessee's first SEC opponent?
Is it LSU?
Not LSU.
Alabama?
No.
Texas.
Alabama, son. That's our third Saturday in October. Come on.
Yeah,
Kept
Jake,
it that way. I don't know about tradition anymore with all this pod.
Come
stuff.
on, man. You just lost credibility there.
Yeah,
All right.
you really did, Jake. But
Texas.
Anyway, Texas is the first SEC opponent Tennessee will play this year. That's in Knoxville. Then the next week, October the 3rd, you welcome in Auburn. So you got Alex Golish coming in. Let's see, October the 10th. Man, I'm not seeing any bye weeks in here.
That's okay.
Anyway,
We're on a roll right now. We're 5-0.
October the 10th, you're going on the road to Arkansas.
Dub.
October 17th,
6-0.
at home against Alabama.
Dub. 7-0.
October 24th.
Got him at home, Jake. That's a logical pick, bro. The last 5 years has been the home team wins. It's a logical pick. Shut up. All right, we're 7-0.
October 24th, you go on the road to South Carolina.
That's a dub all day long, dude. Shane Beamer and Lenore Sellers hit the transfer portal, which you talk about getting a portal quarterback.
Wait, he really?
Yes, he did. And I would like to.
You.
I would like to have him actually.
I'm fact checking you because I've not seen that.
Lenore Sellers hit the portal.
Okay, so this is where
Hayes Fawcett, I think. I don't know.
So this is where I finally see a bye week. So I wonder if Tennessee actually has a bye week in week 1 and doesn't start until week 2.
That makes sense.
Because you have straight games from Furman down to South Carolina. Then you have your bye week on October the 31st.
Jake's dying to say something.
He did not transfer. You got caught by No 3 Sports.
No shot.
There's not one thing on here saying anything about him transferring.
Talking about Lenore Sellers?
Yes.
Yeah, he's still there.
Not transferring.
He'd be smart too. I didn't get caught by no.
He'd be
Sports,
smart
though.
too, but he's not going to. All right, November the
Did
7th.
I get deets, bro? I'm kind of nervous now.
You did. You
Yeah,
got
you
you
did.
got bamboozled.
You
Just as
don't-
good as
you
I
don't-
did.
you 100% did.
Michael, you don't even know, dude. Shut up, bro. Come on.
November
You
the
know.
7th. That's when you welcome in Kentucky. November 14th, you go on the road to Texas A&M.
All right, hang on. I lost. Texas A&M is probably a loss.
Nope.
What was the team before?
Kentucky was before that. That's
That's a
100%
dub. So we're 8-1.
I think you mixed up your numbers. That should
I
be
don't know.
9-1.
Okay, whatever. I was a week behind.
All right.
9-1.
November 21st. That's when you bring Lane Kiffin back to Knoxville, LSU.
That's probably a 9-2.
November the 28th, you travel to Nashville to play against Vanderbilt.
That's 10-2, all day long.
I'm feeling a 9-3, 8-4.
I don't give a crap what you're feeling. It's 10-2.
Jake might not be back next year.
10-2, and I'll tell you why. Because Vanderbilt's graduating half their team. So I mean, I don't care. They got the number one quarterback from Georgia. He's not going to be a playmaker day one. So I genuinely think Vanderbilt takes a step back. They really have no option but to take a step back next year. Other than I don't understand why everybody thinks the schedule is overly hard. In my opinion, this really isn't much different than what we normally have to play to begin with. And maybe that's just me for the first time not seeing Georgia, Florida, Alabama all in the same year. We're actually seeing just Alabama, and then sure, you replace that with LSU, you replace that with Auburn, but I don't think Auburn's going to be that tough in year one. I think
you did bring up a good point earlier, Skylar, and that's the fact that you're playing against 4 teams that have first-year head coaches.
Yeah, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, and Kentucky.
I just see it as, hey, you've got a first-year head coach, and you have a game plan against the guy.
That's a good point. That's a good point, too. But how far along are these teams going to be with that first-team head coach whenever you play them? So
I don't know.
I can tell you, Auburn could be good. They could be good.
They could be good under Alex Golesh.
I think Texas will be better than they were last year, or I guess this year.
I think it depends on if DeVarge Manning comes back.
If?
Yeah.
He's
Okay,
coming back.
I got
Is
the
he gonna
news from
transfer?
Gamecock Express that Lenore Sellers hit the portal.
I don't go to that site. I think that's illegal for me to be on.
But so to your point, I did not get geeked by I've seen No 3 and I know better than that. But I probably did get geeked by because it's Gamecock.express on Instagram. So I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, but when you click on the comments, the very first comment says leave while you can. I'm like, yeah, I agree. But then the third comment down says fake news. So maybe you're right. But I am better than to listen to No 3. That is a dumb mistake.
That account right there kind of sounds like a Richard G. West type account. So
Gamecock Express. I would never see. I've never seen a Deke account be like the mascot of. I've never seen like a Vol account be like just utterly wrong.
I actually
Have you been
ran
on Facebook lately?
I ran across.
I've seen haters like on Vol pages, but not like an actual Vol page. That's,
I actually ran across a Michigan account earlier that's deked me into thinking that Savion Hyder was coming back to Tennessee.
I love engagement farming.
Right on.
It's just so good.
well, either way, if he did hit the portal, I mean, that's a good quarterback. I'll take it.
Yeah. No, but guys, appreciate y'all tuning in this evening. It's been a lot of fun just getting to talk ball. Yeah, it's not crazy to think that he would hit the portal.
I'm glad that you think it's been fun. I've been wanting to hit you upside the fucking head, excuse my language, freaking head through this screen. Like every point you made about the college football playoff, I'm starting to question who my co-host is. Like,
yeah, I've been thinking that for a while. So,
oh yeah, is that right? Is that right? You want to take this outside, Michael? It's fine. Whatever.
I'm just waiting for my son to start talking so I can replace you.
No, I hear you.
No, I'm just
Wow. All right, dude. Wrap it
No.
up. Jake, you got anything?
Nope.
But no, appreciate everybody tuning in this evening. This has been a lot of fun. I love the banter that we have. It's good not to agree all the time.
Correct.
Mainly because I'm going to soak up this content that I'm going to post this week. So anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. Enjoy the Army-Navy game this weekend. Got some bowl games coming up this coming weekend as well.
You haven't announced a big change in the show.
I was getting to that.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So next week, we will be on Thursday night next week. It's going to be at normal time.
The 18th. What is it?
The 18th.
Yeah, the 18th.
The 18th. We will be on normal time. The following week, it is the week of Christmas. We will be going live on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And we will also be doing Tuesday nights from here on out, starting that
Permanently.
week. We're going to be going permanently on Tuesday nights. I've actually got to change my work schedule coming up at the first of the year, so I wouldn't be able to come on Thursday. Skylar has agreed to come on with Tuesdays. And honestly, one of our highest viewed shows as of recently was the night that we swapped over to Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving. So we decided to together to go to Tuesday nights as far as our live nights go. So once again, Thursday night next week, and then Tuesday night from there on out. So make sure you put that on your calendars. But Skylar, you got anything else?
Miami shouldn't have been in the playoff. Go Big Orange.
Jake, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
All right. Go Big Orange, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
He said I'm done with this, bro.